Curt Carstensen here for another episode of People I Know Show. And joining me today is Kiki Seit. Kiki, you're one of my newer friends I met recently while traveling. We met in Greece, but that's not where you're from. That's not where you're living. The reason I'm having you on today is you were living in Italy, but you're back home in your country. So tell me the story here of what's been going on the last couple of weeks, because we all know Italy, things aren't good, but you got out of there. So hello, and tell me about what's going on in your life.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kiki, and I'm from Kyrgyz Republic. Not Kurdistan, not Turkestan. It goes Kyrgyzstan. So my country in Central Asia, I think you know the countries like Kazakhstan. So we are neighbors, and it's a very small country with 6 million people. But my last 2 years, I live in Rome, in Italy, do my study in university. And I would like to tell you what's going on in Italy right now and what I'm doing right now in quarantine in my country and how it's going. So all this coronavirus situation starts in Italy in the beginning of February. Before February, everything was okay, and we saw that this situation is going only in China. But just in a few days, it was like a bomb, and a lot of people, a lot of infected people, then starts to make news that a lot of people dying from that, and mostly it's people under 50 years. Um, so about Italian people. Italians very positive, very kind people, and they stayed very calm till the last minute, till the last second situation. I can say that they were a bit unresponsible for this situation because when um, television, newspapers, all media was posting that in Italy this coronavirus, most of these people they were not wearing masks, they were not sitting at home, they were continue their usual life, like they were sitting in restaurants, they were walking, and plus that I think that's why uh, Italy how to say it, Italy got infected so fast. I think in just in 2 weeks. So about my life in last week in Italy, I can say it was a bit panic, actually, really. And
Because
plus,
we met in Greece, and you return home, and you
yes,
were back for about one. It was you were back for 1 week. We met on our vacation. We can talk a little bit more about that a little bit
yes,
later. But you were back home for about 1 week before you decided to get a flight out of there. So yeah, explain that final week there.
yes, final week. So when I came back from Greece, it was already panic. It was already a bit fear from people, especially um, to my side because I'm Asian. They were starting to just in public transport, for example, or in restaurants somewhere else. They were starting just to close their faces from me.
They would
But
they were moving along like normal, and then they would see you, think that
yes,
you are Chinese or might be Chinese, and then
yes, and it's not just one situation. It was several times, especially in public transport, in metro, in buses. But at the end, I just used to see this situation And I was just like, okay, I don't care. But um, all everything happened on the 8th of March when my friends and me decided to walk because it was a celebration of Women's Day. And this day, especially, I saw the real situation in Italy. Because, as you know, in Italy, always a lot of tourists. And we walk in the center, Piazza di Spagna, Piazza Venezia, Fontana Trevi. It was actually empty.
Mm.
No tourists, no people there. It was really empty. And this day I just decided that I think the situation is getting worse and I should to go back to my country.
And that was
Before,
Sunday, right? It was a Sunday?
sorry?
The 8th was a
Yes,
Sunday, and
Sunday.
announced a partial, like the northern part of Italy was locked down. Was it that day?
Yes, yes. That day, just the north of Italy was locked down. And after the next day, Monday, 8th of March, they at night department decided to lock down all country, all Italy. My flight was 10th of March, so they decide to lock down the country evening 9th of March. And I was actually really so that I can't go out of Italy. But seems like I'm lucky because I did it.
Hmm.
But uh, every this situation starts from university first. University say that university will be closed from 5th of March till 15th of March. But I did knew that I think they will continue the quarantine. And I was right actually. Then my work. I'm working as English teacher for Italian kids, and the families they start to cancel all the lessons due to virus. Because of course I can understand them. They are afraid for this for their kids. So the last days in Italy, I was just sitting in the room because even if you are going out, you have just two reasons: grocery shopping and pharmacy. So I decided that there's no sense to stay in Italy because quarantine will be really for a really long time because this situation was growing. A lot of infected people every day, 100 people was infected. A lot of people also was dying, and it was a really clear situation that all countries soon will be in quarantine. And when it will happen, you can go out and no one can go in. So after that, I just decided to come back to my country. Fiumicino, the most big airport in Italy. I never saw this airport so empty. You know, like horror movies, really horror movies with zombies, with apocalypses. It wasn't real. You're just going in the airport. All these luxury shops, everything closed. No bars, no restaurants, no cafes. You can't. Usually, we have a habit like before fly, we can sit, have some coffee or something else. Nothing. No one.
How many
Can you
people
imagine?
did you see that weren't working, or even that were working?
Oh,
You
working
counted
actually.
on?
Oh,
Could you
yes.
count it? Can you count it on a couple hands? Was it that few, or was it more than that?
Uh,
Be-
well, not so much, but of course they were working. A lot of not so much people, but around maybe I don't know 20, no or less or more. So yeah, and it was really like a horror movie, because usually in these brand shops like Louis Vuitton, Chanel, a lot of people, and in restaurants we're sitting having dinner before flight, and it's really nothing. And this time I think there were 2 or 3 flights, and even my fly airplane was half empty. All people were in masks, all the flight. So I had stopped in Moscow.
Before we talk about Moscow, when you were going to the airport, were you even
Okay.
sure that they would let you on the airplane? Like, what was that conversation, the first conversation you had with someone at the airport? What was that conversation like when you realized, okay, they're going to let me leave?
Yes. When I was doing check-in. So when I was doing check-in, I did check-in, and I was pretty absolutely sure that I will leave Italy. The first thing I did in airport, I did check in because I had a luggage. So yes, I did a check in, and they asked me where I'm going. They check my temperature before, and after this situation, I was absolutely sure that I'm going to my country.
Okay. And then you had a connection in
so
Moscow.
so yes, the situation in the airplane, all cabin crews were in masks and in the gloves. All people were in masks, and everyone mostly were afraid of sitting near by someone else, because of course you didn't know, maybe he's infected.
Hmm.
So it was half empty, as I said before, but I had fly with my friends. With my friends, they're also from my country, and we are students in Italy. So we sit together in one line,
Wow.
but others, yeah, others they were trying to sit alone or a bit far from another passenger. The most funny situation, I was thinking, Moscow, of course, Russian people, you heard something about Russia, and I was afraid. I was really afraid that I will have troubles in Moscow, because there's very strict securities, very strict checks, and I was thinking that here maybe will be something. Maybe they will take analysis, or maybe there will be something like, I thought that maybe they will put me in quarantine, but everything was okay. I had fly with Airfloat, Russian Airlines,
Hmm.
and when airplanes stop in airport Sheremetyevo, cabin crews gave us new masks, and then there were doctor in this I don't know how to say it, in uniform, all clothes. He started to check us with a special I don't know how to call it actually, special device, like
Okay.
checking temperature.
Your temperature.
Yeah. After that, we went in the airport. Everything was okay actually in Moscow.
They
In
probably
Moscow,
wanted
like,
with you. They didn't want you there. They-
really, it was like two different worlds, because Rome, panic, apocalypse, no people, and Moscow, everything like in a usual day, in a
yeah.
usual life. A lot of people, everything is working, not so many people with masks. Yeah, and I had no problems actually. I was like a transit passenger, so they just check my temperature and just let me go to my gates and wait for my flight. That's all. After
And
that,
how many hours did you have left Like this whole trip was how long, and then how many more hours before you were back to your country then at that point? Because it wasn't a short trip.
10 hours.
10 hours
It
total.
was 10 hours. Yes, in totally, because from Rome to Moscow, it took me 4 hours because it was night flight. Then I was waiting 2 hours in airport, and from Moscow till my country 4 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, so then situation was okay. I was pretty calm because there was guarantee that I will have fly from Moscow to Bishkek, and I had it. Here's another situation.
Hmm.
Again, this airplane was half empty, but not so many people were masked. Everything was okay. Cabin crews had no masks, and we had a good flight actually. I was sleeping all my trip, all my flight to Bishkek. And here's starting very interesting situation. Before our flight in Rome, we contact with our embassy, and we say to them that okay, 5 students going to going to Bishkek. Please be sure and control to make us let us come safe, because of course we did know that we will have a quarantine. And
You did know. You were already aware. Or you did not
yes,
know. Okay, you did.
we did know that we will have a quarantine. And after that, in the airport of Kyrgyzstan, we didn't went into in the airport. It was just like a trap of airplane, and here's already military people, military workers
Oh,
with list. Okay, who's a student from Italy? Yes, and they checked us separately from other passengers. Separately from other passengers, they did registration, where we came from, how many time we were staying in Italy, what we are doing there, and other things. Then they checked our temperature, said, okay, you're going to quarantine for 40 days, 14 days,
14.
sorry,
2 weeks.
14 days, 2 weeks. Yeah. Um, After that, they bring us to ex-American military base in Kyrgyzstan.
I had no idea. You told me this. I had no idea there was an ex-American military base in Kyrgyzstan.
Yes, yes. We had a American base before, a lot of American soldiers, and after sanctions between Russia and America, we had to choose one country with whom we will be like a more close.
Mm-hmm.
So our country decided to be in the side of Russia.
Okay.
So after that, American base was closed. All American soldiers, they back to their country.
That's probably a good idea. You're far too close to Russia to be on their bad side, I would think.
Yes, actually,
We're,
definitely.
we're far away, so you're probably okay over there. Although we can talk to, I believe on the extended the travel ban list, your country was on it. So we remember to talk
Yes.
about that later. But yeah, the relationship apparently is not that great if your country was listed there. But go on, tell me what it was like then. You got to the base and you're
Yeah, we
totally
got at the base. Here's like standard rooms, all rooms similar. Just beds, no windows, just beds, and AC, air conditioner. So after that, they just we choose our rooms. We went inside and put our luggages, everything. After that, doctors came and took analysis from nose. From nose. Um, After that, they were checking our temperature every 2-3 hours,
Mm.
every time. Because we are first people in this base. Now it's crowded, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes, now it's crowded. But before we were the first passengers from Europe and South Korea uh, in this base. But now it's crowded.
Do you know, are there other locations where the same things are happening for your fellow citizens there, or was this the first time that they realized that they better start doing this and
We are all having this situation the first time.
so no one there is not another location where this is happening?
No, of course there's location like hospitals. Mostly it's hospitals, but all hospitals right now are crowded.
Oh,
That's why they start to put people in quarantine in this base.
okay.
Yeah, and it's my 10th day.
10 days.
No, ninth day actually. Ninth day. 5 days left.
5 days left. Okay.
I'm still okay, but what we are doing? Um, so it's prohibited. There are special lines, your territory of every base, because we have a lot of like this. How to say it? Like a bunker.
Bunkers?
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
So here's a lot of bunkers, and every bunker have his own little space,
Uh-huh.
and to go out of this space of this territory is prohibited. Um, what we are doing? We have a breakfast at 9, lunch at 1 p.m., and dinner at 6. What else? So the doctors checking our temperature 3 days per day, three times per day,
Hmm.
morning, lunch, and evening before sleeping. Um, they um they put Wi-Fi here a few days ago, so we have a we can watch the movies, series, and everything else.
Okay.
Um, Also, a lot of students here having their online study, online lessons. Mostly, we are just sitting outside, because in these rooms, they're just small rooms, no windows. So we are trying all day sitting outside on the fresh air, under the sun. So
Is the
yeah,
temperature comfortable there? I see you're in a t-shirt right now, so it must be warm
yeah,
enough.
spring is coming to here. Right now it's around maybe 15 degrees,
And
so
15
it's warm.
Celsius in Fahrenheit, that's I'm not sure exactly, but it's probably in the 60s is my guess. I'll have to check that.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad. And other bunkers, there are a lot of people from Germany, from France, South Korea, China also.
So these are people
But
from those countries, like, or are there citizens of Kyrgyzstan that are returning from those countries?
they are returning from these countries, our citizens
Yep.
returning from these countries. Yeah. Yesterday, actually, we had a bad news, because here the first 3 cases of coronavirus in Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah, I've been watching
But
international list, Kiki, and I was looking for your country, and I never saw it, and then I all of a sudden saw it pop up with three. So yeah, explain that.
yes, but the interesting situation. These infected 3 people, they came not from Europe, not from China. They came from United Arab Emirates.
Oh,
You know that Muslims have a special like how to say it, like special, very uh religion trip to Mecca,
Yeah, is it a big one
Uh,
every year? That
yes,
would be happening right now or was happening, but they canceled it, I think, didn't they?
yes, it calls like a big Hajj and small Hajj. So they came from small Hajj.
Okay.
Yes, and very funny situation because here's a lot of students from Italy, and Italy right now it's a really most dangerous zone. Sorry. Okay. So Italy, one of the most dangerous zones, and this virus came from United Arab Emirates.
So that's happening. Those people are obviously getting extra special attention then, but were they on your base somewhere else, the three people?
No, our analysis clear. Everyone in this base, they're healthy.
So these people are
Uh,
somewhere else in your country.
yes, these three infected people, they are right now in a special hospital, a part of all people.
Okay. So for you and the group of people you're with, it seems to be, and I don't want to jinx you here, but it seems to be all of you are okay and you're waiting out your time now. It appears.
Yes, we are waiting our time because our second analysis, control analysis, will be on the 13th day of our quarantine, one day before leaving.
Okay. So then I'm sure you're pretty bored with being there. You're ready to go home. The point of leaving Italy was to go
Well,
home.
yes, actually, because here's no freedom, but our department, our people's trying to give us all the comfortable things that we need. But this group, we are trying to make some fun. We are playing cards, we are playing Mafia, watching movies together, walk, and at night we are telling each other some horror stories. So yeah, we are trying to spend to kill this time. Yeah,
You seem to be
most
in
of
pretty
them
good
are
spirits.
sleeping. Sorry.
You seem to be in good spirits. Like it's not too bad of a time.
Yeah, it's not bad actually because I met really good people, and it's very interesting when you are listening a lot of new stories, new things you can know from your citizen, and how their work there, how the climate, how the people there. It's interesting actually.
And I think that's a good transition point for the moment because for me, anytime I'm anywhere, if I'm around good people, people that make the experience better, then I enjoy it. So let's talk for a bit about how we met. And then I want to learn more about your country after that. So we were in,
Okay.
so here's my version of the story. We were in Greece, in Athens. My friend Brad and I were touring some of the old ancient ruins, the sites of Athens. And this afternoon, we had seen a few sites already, but we saw that it was going to rain in the forecast. So we realized we better go to the Acropolis, which is like the big one, the main one. It's where the Parthenon is. And we went to the Acropolis. We didn't really know what we'd find once we got up there because it's up a big hill. We walked up the road to the big hill and saw that there was this little mountain area, like a viewing point. So he and I went onto this viewing point, just kind of looking both back behind us at the Acropolis, but also forward to the city. And it was a really great place to see the city. And at some point, I was looking around, kind of checking out some sites and maybe taking some photos. And I turned back around and I saw that Brad was taking photos of you. So
Yes.
you tell me. I know the story, but explain back for me and my audience what you were doing by yourself on the mountain in Athens.
Okay, so I have my friend. She's living in Athens with her boyfriend. And I had plans, really. I had a plan for a long time to visit her. And finally, I decide. So I had my free time from work, my study, and I decide, okay, this right now I need to go to the Athens. Also, tickets were very cheap. So yes, I traveled alone in Athens. My friend all these days during the daytime, she was working,
Mm-hmm.
and I was working alone. Um, yes, I started my first day in Athens from also from Acropolis, because she said, okay, just go to Acropolis, the main thing in Athens. I was walking, and I had my camera taking a photo of things around. Uh, but I of course, as a tourist, I wanted to have a photo of myself on the background with Acropolis. And I just saw Brad. He was standing near, and I just asked him, please, can you take a photo of me? He was kindly, yes, sure.
Mm-hmm.
He took photo of me. He was standing near him. After that, we were just walking actually the same way.
Yeah, we chatted for just a few, like maybe a minute, and
Yes.
you and I and Brad, and then we parted ways like any typical stranger. Like you meet someone, you be friendly, and then you move on. But yeah, we ended up taking the same route very often, it seemed.
But the funny situation, as you know, Europeans have a different accent, really different accent. And when you live in Italy and you speak with European English, like you used to hear also this European accent.
Mm-hmm.
And when Brad and Kurt were talking to me, I was like trying to understand them. I can understand that it's in English, but oh my God, what they are saying, because your accent was really difficult to me. And a funny situation, the second time I met you also already inside of Acropolis, right?
Yeah, we were walking around up there. I noticed you were kind of in the same area, so we crossed paths, and I asked you something about the photos, and
Yes. Yes, we were walking around, and Kurt asked me something about photos. Like you said, you asked, how's the photos, right?
because Brad took those photos of you, I asked to see if they were okay.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't understand, and I saw that Kurt asking, you are taking photos. How it's going? And I
Yeah.
said, well, it was a stupid situation, and I said just, well, actually, sun in the different way, in the different side, and I don't know, I don't remember what I said, but it was stupid.
You responded. It's like it's something to do with the photos that you were taking in that moment, which wasn't that
Yes.
stupid. But the thing for me is that you said a few words and then you just like walked away. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm never talking to that guy again. It seemed like you did not want to talk to me at all. That was my impression.
No, actually, it was just I just had I don't know. I was like, oh my God, what I'm saying, I can understand them. Of course, I wanted to talk with you and know get to know each other better from where you are and what are you doing here. But your accent, I really couldn't understand your accent, and I was like, oh my God, what are you saying about? They think that you're stupid. But then I said, okay, let's try again.
Yeah. So Brad and I
It,
were taking photos of the Parthenon, right?
yes, inside, and I said, okay, let's try again. And I just came to you and asked, okay, guys, let's make a deal. I will take a photo of you, and you will take photo of me. So yeah, from this time, from this moment, we start talk. We start a conversation, and then I explained to you that I'm sorry that I can understand your accent. Could you please uh, talk a bit clearly, slowly and clearly?
It's easy
Yeah.
to get that sometimes. Like I was excited to talk to someone in English, that someone could speak English. Not that people don't speak English in Greece, but it's not as prominent as other countries in Europe, I find. There weren't as many English speakers, not nearly as many. So we could speak English with you, and that was cool. So I get excited and I start speaking English real fast, but I forget that who I'm speaking to. They don't necessarily.
Well, we had a really good time actually. After this meeting, we spent 2 days together, right?
Much of the next 2 days together, we got to meet your friend Asalia, who you were there to see. He was
Yes.
working a lot, but yeah, and then you got to meet both Mas and Ro, who they've been on the
Yes.
previous episodes of my podcast with me, and we all just became like a bigger friend group for a couple days, and it was pretty neat because you were looking for people to spend time with because you had no one for most of the day, and we were happy to include you in our group.
Yes. I really enjoy our time together, especially dinner. Thanks for inviting us again. And after you leave Greece to another island, right?
Yeah, we flew to Crete.
Athens. Yes. I was pretty boring actually.
We're bored. Not
uh,
boring. Bored.
oh, bored.
Yes.
Yes, thanks. Yeah,
Not
I
bored.
was pretty bored because I was walking again alone in no company, no person who would take a photo of you. But well, after that, the day after I left Athens, also.
So, what did you think of Athens compared to other countries you traveled to in Europe?
You know, Athens, it's like mix of Soviet Union, ex-USSR, a bit maybe East traditions, food, and just a piece of Europe.
Yeah.
It's a really like a mix of a bit Russian, maybe a bit of East and Europe. But Greece actually before visit Greece, I didn't know anything about Greece. I just did know that they have stories about like um, gods, like
Yeah.
Greece gods. Yes,
Mythical gods. Yes.
yes, but I didn't know anything about their food traditions and never heard Greece language. So for me, it was really something new, very new. For example, if in Italy you can understand at least some words from sentence, Greece language, Greek language is really just nothing.
Yeah. It's a different alphabet, and
Different alphabet,
not many
yes.
words relate to the words in English. Yeah. It was for me. It was a very different travel experience because I barely, except for the people at like the shops or the restaurants, the few times we did that, they could speak English, but the everyday person that I might meet, they didn't, so I couldn't communicate with anyone, which is I think fairly common in international travel. But for me, I haven't been to many places like that. I've been to a few Spanish speaking countries where it's similar, but it was different because I kind of felt like I was by myself when I was a few times that I was by myself. I felt like I was really by myself, and it's a different feeling. I didn't have any issues in the country. I enjoyed just taking it in and walking around and seeing the sights of what I was able to see. But I felt somewhat detached from it even while there because I didn't know how to interact with the people. And part of that, I suppose, is my own fault for not knowing any of the language really and not prioritizing that. But also, I think it's just much more difficult for an English speaker to really take in all of Greece because there's not
Yes.
not a lot of English spoken. Although they do put English, that is like still the second most common language. They put it on a lot of the signs, which that does help a lot because obviously they know that they need to adapt to tourists because not that many tourists are going to speak Greek.
You're right. You're right. So I think I suggest you to visit Greece. It's like country, I think, because it's a really different part, a little piece of East Europe and Russia
Mhm.
in one country. So yes.
Yeah, I was happy to go there at a good time, and I got to meet you, of course. I have,
As you can hear, my neighbors trying to sing, making karaoke, something else.
well, I think so far it's not too distracting, but there are some sounds in the background. But it's okay. It's understandable. You're under quarantine on a military base. People are trying to enjoy themselves in the outdoors. So,
Yes.
but let's keep talking more. So when I met you and you told me what country you were from, I can't even be sure to that moment if I knew, like, I think I knew that your country, Kyrgyzstan, Kyr, say it again for me. How do you say it when you're you don't say Kyrgyzstan. That's
Uh,
what the rest of the world or some of the world calls you. What do you call yourself?
well, actually, in Russian it calls like Kyrgyzstan.
Okay, so
Kyrgyzstan.
okay,
In English, it's reading like Kyrgyzstan, and usually European people say like Kyrgyzstan or Kyrgyzstan.
okay. But
Like
you say you're from the Kyrgyz Republic,
yes, you can say Kyrgyz Republic.
Kyrgyz Republic. Okay,
So yeah, we are one of Stan countries.
and on the map, you're Central Asia, kind of between the Middle East and China. There's a whole bunch of countries there that, for me, growing up in the United States with my education, when we're learning about the rest of the planet, the rest of the countries, I don't know that any section of the planet is skipped more than like the few countries in your area there. It's not, they're not prominently taught about, we're not taught about your countries. That's the back of the textbook probably. So we don't really, and that's at least my memory of learning about world geography. That's not something we learned about. So I really was very unfamiliar. But talking with you and with Asalia, your friend, I got to know a few more things. So what do you think would surprise someone not from your part of the world about your country? Give me a few tidbits that you think that your country's known for, or that you're really proud of from being from there.
Well, actually, yes. A lot of people don't know my country, and usually when I meet new people and when I'm saying where I am from, they are thinking like, "Where is that?
Hmm.
Where is your country? Kurdistan, Turkestan." And I was like, "Okay, it's near Kazakhstan, Russia. Ah, Kazakhstan." Mostly people know Kazakhstan, but about Kyrgyzstan, they don't know. And we are neighbors. We are neighbors, but my country is much smaller. 6 million people for
Hmm.
now. Capital calls Bishkek.
Bishkek.
Yes, and our first language is Kyrgyz language, and second language is Russian language. So our people can speak fluently in Russian and also in Kyrgyz. And for European and American people, it's very like wow, especially when Asian girl with Asian eyes start to speak in Russian clearly. And usually, sometimes I was just joking. Okay, I'm from Russia, and there's also a lot of questions. But if you are from Russia, why you are Asian?
Hmm.
So yeah, um, my country is still young. My country. So we became independent in 1991.
So 29 years ago, not even 30 years.
Yes, 1991.
Yep.
So, okay. And my country is really young, and we are just starting to grow. Um, our touristic
I think the karaoke singing behind you, it's more distracting for you than it is for me listening from a half of a globe away.
Yes. So, oh my God, what is it? I can show you if you
Yeah,
want.
that's fine. You got the camera. You should yell to them and tell them that you're on the world famous People I Know show.
You want to show? Okay.
So on the video right now, we can see it's actually this. Normally, when I have a conversation with people on the video, it's just my face and their face. Here, you're showing
Yes.
me it definitely looks like winter ended not long ago. The trees are without leaves, or mostly without leaves. With people in Minnesota, he would be familiar, and the ground looks mostly brown, a little bit of green, and yeah, not a lot of excitement with your surroundings, as you can tell. You're fenced.
So, as I said before, it's like a bunkers. Look,
Yep.
yeah. I think I just need to go a bit far
Okay.
from them
Yeah, that's a
to talk
bad
with
location.
you.
There's like nobody around while we were doing this, but they're right above you. Like
Yes.
above. Okay.
So, I think better for you to ask what are you interested in from about my country?
So I think as someone that's now, I think I've seen like 21 or 22 different countries. If and when I eventually come to visit your country, what would draw me in there? What do people commonly travel there to see or to do for tourists?
Okay. People coming to my country to see the nature because we have incredibly beautiful nature. We have also a lot of lakes and we have mountains. So during the summertime, we have a lake and we have a beach season. During the also of course mountains, high mountains, very beautiful and very virgin nature. So I can say like a virgin nature. Um, because our nature is still not so visited. How to say it? Wait, I'm sorry for my English, but
Your
um,
English is great, actually, for someone that wasn't born into it.
so I just can say that it's still virgin and not so visited with people, and it's still like it's saved like from the first time. No, how
So
to say
there's
it?
parts
Okay.
of the country that like people have not been to yet. Would you say
Yes,
that?
yes,
And you did show me
and
a video when we were having dinner one night in Athens
yes,
at our Airbnb. You were showing me a
yes.
video of one of your family vacations, and the images were just astounding. How beautiful! You're in the middle of nowhere in nature, and the sights were just amazing. Like, no, you're showing me no filters on these things. It's like I want to go see this
No.
person.
Yes, and a good point that in winter we have ski bases. So we have all kind of how to say it sports. Help me, Curt.
So like a winter sports, people come there to go skiing and snowboarding.
Yes, and the summertime you can just doing hike, right?
So a lot of nature. People would come there to
Yes,
enjoy the beautiful, great outdoors, like because there's just you can get away from the city. But you're also like
yes.
I think you told me your city is in one location, but if someone wanted to go skiing, that it's not very close to the city. How far away?
Yes, actually, there's a very popular base with really high mountains. It's in 6 hours of riding by from the capital.
So the best skiing area that someone would go to,
Yes.
they would have to drive 6 hours from.
Yes.
Okay, which I mean, it's probably worth doing, but if you're deciding to go vacation in Kyrgyzstan, you're gonna be putting some time in to really get to your vacation spot.
Yes.
Kiki, I've got you back now. We lost you for a little bit, so you had to go, as you mentioned earlier, you had to go get tested. Was it 3 times per day by a local doctor?
Yes. Yes.
And what do they do with those daily tests?
Um, they are checking our temperature and our pressure. Plus, they are giving us new masks, and that's all. And they are asking how you feel yourself. Did you notice some changes in your body? Do you have some symptoms of coronavirus? So that's all. Just because here's a lot of people, we are standing in lines and queues. So yeah, it takes a bit longer time.
But that went okay, and you're back to your little quarantine vacation. If I don't know how you want to describe it, so back to on your own then for most of the day.
Yes, actually, it's kind of quarantine vacation because all things we do here is just sleep, sleep, eat, watch movies, a bit walk, again sleep. So all our quarantine days going like that.
Before we got cut off, when you got called in to get your exam, we were talking about your country, Kyrgyzstan, and we were talking about, we had just, I think, just finished up about the, like, traveling out to, if someone want to go skiing 6 hours away.
Yes.
What else? So if I visited the city, Bishkek, what is happening in Bishkek that someone from another place might find interesting, perhaps?
Well, actually, in Bishkek, nothing interesting except of nightlife, maybe. Because we have a lot of night bars and clubs, and good restaurants with a good atmosphere and vibe. So here in Bishkek, you can just see maybe nightlife and plus some bazaars
Like
with
bizarre, it's a word we don't use in the United States very often, but it's like shops, right? Different
yeah, it's
shopping
like a
area.
street, big street shops. And in Bishkek, we have one of the biggest bazaars in the Central Asia.
Okay.
So here you can find anything from anywhere, especially mostly from China.
And
China goods.
okay, so a lot of commerce there. If I remember looking at the map, there's a really big lake close to Bishkek.
Yes, it's a cool. It's a cool from Kyrgyz language means hot lake.
Hot lake.
Hot lake, yeah, hot lake because in winter it's not getting freeze.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's salty, and because of salt, it's not getting freeze like other small lakes during the winter. And this lake, it's our like Miami Beach, some kind of, because around lake we have a lot of like resorts, hotels, where a lot of people, especially from Kyrgyzstan, and plus some Kazakh people, some Russian people come in summer to have their vacation. Yeah, we have a good beaches, okay. And yeah, we can swim. Our beach season starts from the beginning of July until the end till the maybe beginning of September.
Okay, that's pretty similar to here in Minnesota. There's maybe it starts in June, possibly, but really July and August are the 2 months where it gets really warm and it's a perfect day for going to the beach when it's
No, of course,
raining.
some of people go in June also, but it's cold.
Yeah, it
It's a
sounds
bit
very similar then.
colder. Yes, that's why the perfect time for lake it's July and August.
Well, you're about a half a globe away. We just recently had our time change here for daylight savings time, but before that, you were 12 hours. I recall you were 12 hours different. So, yeah, you may. I'm gonna have to look close to the parallels, the longitude and latitude. But I think on the latitude, you may be very similar here to Minnesota. The way you're describing the temperatures and the seasons.
Yeah, it's Kyrgyzstan. In Kyrgyzstan, we have all four seasons, and every season starts uh, in the every season starts uh, oh my God. Okay, how to say it? Uh, for example, okay, it's not like, for example, when summer starts later or earlier. All season starts in this time.
Every year, very consistent.
Yeah,
You know as the year changes about what the temperature is going to do.
yeah. But for example, right now March here, and it's already warm. Everything is getting green, and summer will start here from the end of May. And we have autumn, we have winter, cold winters with a lot of snow. So yeah, in Kyrgyzstan you can see all four seasons.
And how would you describe the government situation as a citizen of your country and having lived in other places and traveled other places? You find that life is as free and easy in your country as elsewhere, or are there some restrictions?
Well, our country is one of Muslim countries, and like other East countries, we still save our old traditions, and our mentality. It's much different than in Europe and in America. And of course, we are trying to be on time with all the world, but still we are keeping our traditions, especially about family, about marriage, what else, about relations between people, older people, younger people. For example, it's a shame here if you are sitting in the public transport, and there will be a woman or man older than you. If you will not give him your seat like a respect.
Hmm.
Yeah, so in our mentality, respect is one of the important things between relations between people.
And respect is most earned by being older.
Yes, yes.
Okay, interesting. So you have a few days left of your quarantine, and then you'll get to see your
5
family. You
days.
get to see your family. What is your intention then? Because you've been studying in Italy, and you had a program that you're looking to finish there. I'd imagine life is up in the air right now. You don't really know what you're going to do. What do you know you're going to do, and what still needs to be resolved?
Well, actually, after quarantine, I'll stay apart from my family for 1 more week
Oh,
just to check it. Yes, I'll be in home quarantine without anyone, without any family. And after 7 days, 8 days, I can meet with my family. They're waiting for me. They're, of course, worrying about me, and my mom is crying every day. Yes, and actually, it's of course it's my responsibility about my family because I have two my little sisters, and my parents already older than 40, and this group of people are they are more risky to be infected.
Yeah.
That's why it's my responsibility, and it's not difficult for me to stay alone again for one more week.
So then at
But
the end of the week,
sorry, but here everything starts to close too. Cinemas, nightclubs, big restaurants, and all big events, they are cancelled, postponed, and people start to buy food and grocery everywhere. Yeah, even if, for example, if Italy already had this panic before, maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago, in my country it's just getting started.
but I guess I find it somewhat surprising that your country's doing that, because up until yesterday or 2 days ago, you had no known cases, and then you had three, but those people were already they were already quarantined when they were discovered to have the cases, correct? Or were they found in the general population?
So yes, first cases, we read about first cases yesterday, and plus today also 3 cases.
Oh, okay.
So right now in Kyrgyzstan it's 6 cases, and all the 6 people from United Arab Emirates, from Saudi Arabia.
So but they traveled back. Would have they had an opportunity to mix with the general population that's not left the country?
Again,
What
sorry.
you see, they've all been from United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia. Would have these people been in quarantine though? Like they weren't exposing the general population, correct? Or were they?
Yes, yes. Right now they are in a special quarantine, a part of us and a part of other people.
So a lot is shutting down. So life is not normal, even in your country right now. And I lost
1 second, please. Okay.
the
Sorry.
li- life's not normal. You'll be re-entering probably a different world than what you're used to, even after your additional quarantine from your family. What is your plan for the short term though, with your life and your studies and your work? What are you going to do? Because like so many people, our lives have been at least somewhat changed or upended. Yours, you left the country that's experiencing the worst aspect of the coronavirus right now to go back to your country with 3 weeks in quarantine, and then you have plans for your life, but now what are you going to do?
Yes, actually, a very good question, because I'm sure that I'll not come back to Italy maybe in till the June, or maybe till the September, because our university starts to send us messages like don't come back for now. We will tell you when everything will be okay, and my professors start to put online exams, and I was planning to graduate this year, but due to this situation, I think my graduation will postpone to the next year maybe. And my plans, well, I'm sure that I'll be here for 2 months, no less than 2 months, and April, May. What I'm going to do? First of all, I'll be with my family. I'll be with my family. I want to spend time with them. After that, I'm planning to do my lessons, online lessons, and if they will be possible to pass exams online, I will do it. And I will come back to my hobby here. I think I will upgrade my skills of photographer.
You were getting plenty of practice in Greece, as I recall. So,
Yes, yes.
Kiki, let's shift the conversation to
Okay.
my personal growth segment. I like to give all my guests an opportunity to share stories that you think you've benefited from in your life, that someone listening to us, watching us right now might be able to learn from. So when I talk about personal growth, something you've been working on, some really big, a big way for you to have improved yourself. What comes to mind? What's a story that you can share that you think might help some others?
Oh, well, I think first of all, everyone should to believe to himself. Just believe in yourself. Everything will be okay. And I strongly believe that if you will dream about something, if you will put set goals, and no need to listen anyone, and just go to your dream, go to your goals. And here right now these days it's a lot of ways to improve yourself. Here's internet, here's a lot of online schools, webinars, and there's a lot of interesting things in this world. And try to travel, try to meet new people, try to uh, learn some new skills, cooking, photographing, drawing. Um Everything is in our hands, and we are everyone can make his life more interesting.
Is there a story of where you believed in yourself and did something that others thought you couldn't, that really made that aspect
Yes,
come to mind? So what is that?
I always wanted to have education abroad, in Europe or America. And I was trying to apply for a lot of universities in Europe, in Germany, in Italy, of course, again, and also in Budapest.
Mhm.
And a lot of tries become for me with grants, free education in Italy, and plus scholarship. So just never give up, and try again more, find new ways. If some doors close, uh, try to open the another doors. So it's like here.
Yeah, no, that's great that you had this thing that you wanted to do, and clearly it sounds like it wasn't easy. You had a lot of times where it didn't go as you hoped, but you kept trying and you got the opportunity, and you'll get to continue, assuming things get back to normal in Italy. You'll get to finish up that plan and go back to Italy and finish your schooling there. So we haven't.
Yes,
I know this, but you're studying a type of law, right? That was
yes,
part of your goal.
European law.
So that's something that you'll be able to. You think you're more likely to look for work back home once you finish your degree, or with the European law, does that pretty much force you to use that degree somewhere in Europe?
My plans to stay in Europe and try to find a job in other countries of Europe. Maybe it will be Germany, maybe it will be in Netherlands, or I'll go to Great Britain. At least maybe I will apply to America. So yeah, I'm not sure that I'll come back to my country because I want to work abroad. I want to work in another country, and I'm not sure that with my experience, I can work here because I want more.
Hmm.
I want more, and it's not enough here in Kyrgyzstan. So yeah, I just I just want to open to myself new boards and try to. Well, I did it already in my country. I had my bachelor's. I had my job here. I did it, so I know how it's going here, and I want to do something that I didn't have before.
You've accomplished what you want to accomplish in your country, and now you're out seeking more. So that's great. You're dreaming
Yeah.
big, and so far it seems like you're accomplishing it. So I'm pretty excited to see what's to come for you, and eventually someday seeing you here in the United States or somewhere else in the world, perhaps. But yeah,
Yeah, maybe.
maybe.
Hope to see you one day in America. Or in Kyrgyzstan.
Oh yeah, no, I plan to go there someday too. I never given a thought before I met you, but now certainly I am. But even so, we still have one more segment here. We're not at the end of the conversation. My being wrong segment, Kiki. This is I created the podcast because I realized I'd changed my mind on so many things. My former version of myself was wrong about a number of things. At least that's the way I look at it. That's what I feel. For you, is there something big that you've changed your mind about that you can look back on yourself and say, yeah, I was wrong about that, and the way that I'm doing it now is much better?
It's a great idea, actually. I never did it before, and I never heard about like a podcast, and it's really interesting. Keep going.
Yeah. So from your life, what's something from your life that you've changed your mind about that you think is worth talking about?
Change my mind. Let me think. Well, change my mind. At first, that all European countries speaks in English. And the second that all my mind about European and American people, actually,
What did you
because
think about us?
well, about European people, for example, about American people, I don't have so much experience of contact with American people, but with European people, um, I always saw that they are more like Nazist, racist. Yes, of course, we can meet some of these people, and I always was. I had a. Mm, I saw that Asian people, we are not our place, not in Europe, because mostly some, for example, there are some phrases like America for Americans, Europe for Europeans, but it's not like that. In Europe, especially in Italy, people were kind, and they can accept you as normal people, normal person. And I always saw that it's really depends relations from people depends from your country and from your nationality, but it's not, and it depends from uh, what the person you are,
Yep.
who you are. So yeah, I think it's the main changes in my mind
It's
for
interesting.
last 2 years.
It's interesting you bring that up because I've shared similar stories in the past about how my mind has changed about seeing people that were from a different place or looked different, and my initial instinct was that they were worse or bad or someone I shouldn't be talking to, some way of looking at the other and thinking that they were someone I shouldn't associate with in some way. I don't know if that's a human thing or if that's a learned thing, but it's funny, you're half of the earth away, and you had those same fears or trepidations, and I think that's very common in a lot of places. So I like to spread the message that, yeah, people from a different place that speak a different language, that look different, yeah, when there's noticeable, visible differences sometimes, but it doesn't mean that we can't get along and become friends. And I think the example of you talking today on my podcast with me is a perfect example of that, of the randomness of us meeting on the mountaintop in Greece, and the stories in just a couple weeks now, what you've been going through. I think it really brings into perspective that this is a very global issue right now. We kind of already know that, but connecting the dots from Greece to Italy to Kyrgyzstan to the United States, like, yeah, we're all dealing with it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just want to say that we are all we are world citizens of the world,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe we are citizens of America, Kyrgyzstan, Europe, and other countries.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much for this experience for you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
It's been good to know you and to stay in contact, and I hope to see you again someday, Kiki.
I hope to. Welcome to Kyrgyzstan.
Thank you.